Hello, everyone.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm good.
Good, good, good. Well, thank you all for having me. My name is Suze Guillaume. I am, advisor at Miami-Dade College, community activist, and also the founder of the Be Lit pop-up project. And a little bit about the project when I first started. How many of you learned how to read at an early age?
Me.
You
Over
did?
summer. That's the worst part.
Over a summer?
Yes.
Okay. And you? When did you learn how to read?
I learned when I was 12.
Are you serious? 12? Okay. Well, for me, I didn't learn how to read until I was about 9 years old. And typically the average age to reading is you put the book in front of a child at a very early age, right?
Yes.
In your home. I grew up in a Haitian household, okay? So books was not a priority. My mom worked 2 jobs, and that was it. As long as you had a roof, you had a bed to sleep on, a place to eat, and a place to shower, you're good. But the education aspect of my life was never empowered. It was never talked about. It was just something that I just had to learn on my own.
Okay.
But what happens to a child when they're developing these reading skills and learning how to read and communicate at a late age? What do you think happened to them?
They fall behind classes and they would have to work twice the time when they see that they're behind.
Do you think that triggers behavioral problem?
Yes.
Sometimes.
Yes.
Sometimes.
Happens with her.
With her?
Yes. Her.
It does?
Yes.
And she's giving a look like, no, no, no. Well, we're going to have you do a little activity with us, okay? So you can finish eating and then we'll call you up. But I want to share a little bit about the project. Be Lit Pop-Up was an idea behind not learning how to read at an early age and the challenges that I had. And I thought to myself after graduating college, and even through college I was struggling. I mean, reading those textbooks and having to really study is not something that I was used to. So I thought about it. After graduating from UF, what can I possibly do to empower the young people in my community to keep reading? Everything has taken over with technology. How many of you believe that social media has taken over us?
Me.
Literally. If you didn't post it, if it's not a boomerang, it didn't happen, right?
Yeah.
Right. So what I wanted to do was bring it back to the basics of opening up a book. And sometimes you don't really have to read a book to know how to read. I learned by writing poetry. There's other ways of doing it. What other ways can you read and write?
Read and write.
Writing
Drawing.
a diary.
Writing in your diary. What else? By asking questions. Some people do it through communication, and there's different ways of doing it. Now, Be Lit is a project where we've established it in Little Haiti and in Liberty City and in Aventura. So what we do is place these little library houses for kids in the community that have book desert areas. So if you don't know what who knows what a book desert area is?
Where
No one?
I have an idea, like where there's books nowhere to be found, like a desert.
Right. So there's, in that area, in particular in Liberty City, it takes a child 40 minutes to walk to the nearest library.
Oh.
That is insane. And for every child that lives there's one book for every 300 kids that live in the community.
That's crazy.
That's exactly. So typically we think it's something that's normal and what we're supposed to have. They say the resources are out there, but they're not getting into the hands of the right people.
Yes.
So that's what the pop-up is for. And we go in, get the resources from the people that have them, and take them into the community.
Yes.
And that's where this project started. So during this year, I took a trip to Colombia. I'm a part of the Miami Fellows program with the Miami Foundation. And every time I travel out of Miami, I always take books with me. Because I know that I'm always going to end up in an area or somewhere where a child never had a book. This boy that you see here, he don't have any books in his house.
Okay.
And he misses school sometimes. Sometimes his mother can't afford to keep him in school. And little things like that happen. So when I met him and I gave him this book, I'm going to play the video right quick and then we'll go into the PowerPoint.
My son wrote the book. The best for you to read. Okay?
My son's name is EJ.
Yeah. He made a wish to visit the White House to meet Barack Obama and his dream grandchildren.
Yeah.
Dream? Do you believe all things are possible?
Yes.
Yeah.
¿Quién dice? ¿Qué dijo?
Que será para mí.
Que
es para ti. Lo escribió el hijo de ella, que se llama EJ. Ese es el nombre del hijo de ella. Y el libro sobre el sueño que él tenía o que tiene de ir a la Casa Blanca. Ay, hija.
El niño, my son and Barack Obama. El libro, I think the libro. Yeah, 1 year later, dream come true.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Remind you of my son?
Yeah. We know.
Now, after meeting with that the little boy, I realized that there's a couple of things that we need to be focused on in the community. We really need to be mindful of those who first don't speak a certain language. So when a child go to school, they come from Haiti, yo vin to Miami, and they in a classroom, there's already a disconnect because first of all, they don't speak the language of the people that are around them, right?
Yes.
And then depending on who they have as a teacher, some people are not sensitive to that. Some people are not sensitive to the culture. Some people are not sensitive to the language. And reading materials. I went into a classroom. There were no books in this classroom, no books. And in the few books that they did have, that were like books that they have to do studying, stuff like that, they had nothing that had anywhere where the child could identify with themselves.
Okay.
And I believe in where if a child can see someone that looked like them that did something, it'll empower them, regardless if they know how to read or if they don't know how to read. Now, what I want to do is continue promoting the idea of diversity and inclusion with reading materials and why people should just have them. And let me go on. We have actually 2 sponsors for this. It's the Awesome Foundation Miami and Public Space Challenge. Yes.
How could we go with you? Because you said that you went to Colombia to meet those people. Could other people volunteer to go with you?
Right. So long term, we only been in this for 6 months. Okay. So our long-term goal is to create the program where we can travel to. Our next stop would be Haiti for this project. Okay. Outside of here. Okay. So we want to build a library in different areas in Fond Lecture Port-de-Paix and in Port-au-Prince. Okay. And we already have the materials and everything. It's just that now we're gathering a group. Okay. So once we get that information together, and then if you're, you could travel and, you get authorization to travel with us and clearance, you could actually travel with us. And then sponsors would also be giving us funds to kind of get people to go with us. Okay. But we would love to have people go with us because it's nothing like going into your own backyard to serve your community. Okay. Like, the money doesn't matter, the fame, the camera, nothing matters. But what matters most is that, you see, after I hugged that boy, I instantly connected with him. I still communicate with him because we're writing a children's book for the village. Okay. We're writing a book for the village. It's called Son Bata in Comuna 13, where the kids are showcasing. Let me tell you what the kids do. They get little buckets, like the trash cans that you see over there. They turn them over, and they made a band. They literally made a band. Okay. The founder of the organization, there was so much violence in the community. That community over there was like Overtown. Okay. But like 10 times worse. Drugs, violence, human trafficking. It's so much going on. And it's so easy for a child to just adapt to that because that's all they see. Mm-hmm. So the founder saw that. He said, no, I can't have these kids involved in drugs and alcohol and human trafficking because if this happens, they're going to fall into this trap. So we got to change it. Mm-hmm. Colombia was known as a drug war area. So what he did was they got buckets and little sticks. They made a band called Son Bata. So now they have a music school there to fundraise so that the kids can have something to do. If they can't go to school and if they can't not be on the street, there's an alternative for them to have something to do. Just like Haiti, not all the children there can afford to go to school, but the resources that we have can empower them to kind of like do better and not fall into the trap of violence and fighting and stuff like that. You had a question? No? Okay, so everything I want everyone to know before you leave here, and if this the only thing that you remember, reading is a universal right. Okay. Everyone should have access to it, not because you don't have money in your house or you don't have the resources or you black, white, or purple. I don't care what you look like. Whether somebody have it or they don't, reading is a universal right and everyone should have access to reading materials. Lecture c'est un droit universel. Okay. And for the next one is Every Child Deserves Books in Their Home. And not some, but every child. Here are a few books that I wanted to showcase that are by local authors here in Miami. They've written them. This, Jaylin and the High Five Machine, this is actually a doll. It's a doll where it's a young boy, and they call it an action pile. And this is the book. The author is Jennifer Pierre. She's a local author, homegrown. She makes the dolls. The books come from her organization. I bring these resources into schools and to professionals and to organizations because I believe when we can identify our own and bring them into our spaces, then kids can connect with them. That's the next book is I Am a Doctor. I have that also in English and Creole. This author is also local, and we get her books. And that's EJ's Exciting Road Trip that I wrote with my son. That's his first children's book. Yes?
So you guys are the ones that made that book?
Yeah. You can, let me tell you guys already are your own authors. You can write your own story. Okay. You believe that?
Yes.
Okay. You had another question after that? No?
I had another question. So your program is basically to not be comfortable with the people around you, to not be comfortable and share the books with the people that you're comfortable with, to go outside of your comfortable zone and share the books that you don't share the books with people that you haven't seen yet before, or because we went somewhere to a community center and it was not our comfortable zone, but we still helped the people there, right?
Were you uncomfortable?
No,
You weren't.
I wasn't comfortable at first, but then I started to be comfortable with the person because they're just like us. It's just that they don't have the most opportunity, because people mostly when they say I'll help you, they want to be comfortable with helping you. But
Right.
we need to learn how to be uncomfortable and help people that we're not used to, basically.
And that's important when doing community work. Just because you look like someone and you go into their community doesn't mean that you have that trust.
Yeah.
The reason when we go into these communities, people build that trust with us because we ask first, what do you want in here? And we build a relationship with them, because too many people have stuff and they just go in and say, oh, hi, I help the community. No, people don't want that. They don't care for you just wanting to help the community. They want to know that you really care. And that's why I love this program, because we actually do care about the people. And we talk to them. We build relationships with them. Okay. And here are some other books that represents hair and I Am Enough, When God Made You, I'm Naturally Beautiful. That's actually a local author. I love these books so much. Why? Because I love the complexion of the girls. I love the afro. I love the braids. I love it. And when I was growing up, I didn't see that. Could you imagine when I was growing up, if I saw books that looked like that, how I would have been in a different world? Yeah. Even if I didn't know how to read the words, I would have just felt the pages, because that's how I started to read. I started feeling on them because I was like, you know what, this is special. Like, you could actually flip the page. And I didn't do that until I was like 9, where I actually picked up to learn how to read. But I can only imagine if I had those books, how my life would have changed. And we actually have all those books for our library. These are a few that are in Spanish.
Book. I love
You had that
book.
one?
No, I had the Grasshopper one. We read it in
Oh, this one.
Yes, that.
Martina and the Cockroach. Oh, you have it? Oh. Good pick. And, huh?
I know this is somewhere.
Yeah.
Oh, even the 3rd grade
Book, yeah, in our school.
Look at that. This one right here, right?
Yes.
Martina.
We're about
Books.
to read it.
You gonna read it now?
No, on Monday we're gonna read it.
Oh, that's so cool.
It's a cockroach. I thought it was the first time I saw it, I thought it was grasshopper, but we continued.
No, it's a Cuban folklore, and I love that it represents our culture, Miami. It represents Miami. I'm gonna continue. Okay, so here is this video is about 3 minutes, but this is a author her name is Ibi Zaboy, the third Haitian American National Book Award finalist. Edwidge Dentaka, who's here today, was the first, and she was the third that was a finalist. Edwidge actually won, but she didn't win after the ceremony. But to be a finalist as a Haitian American, that opened up so many doors, showing that we can do this too. She visited Miami, and the library, the public library, called me and said, Susie, we have a author who's going to be here, and we want you to. I said, what? I got in my car. I started traveling with her. I took her to Little Haiti, and she felt at home. Because I was able to connect her, not with Miami Beach, not with South Beach, no, with Little Haiti, our community center, and also some of our girls. So let's look at this video. And if the video stops, it's cool. We could continue.
Hi everyone, I'm Suze Guillaume. Evie's a boy. And we just had an amazing day, writing workshop, and we have our National Book Award finalists here with us. And this is the third Haitian American, y'all. So this is history, okay? How was your experience here?
I love it. It's like homes. Come see, say like I'm reading.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had not seen. I mean, it's nice and humid. Just connecting to Haitian people and Haitian girls who I'm writing about. You know, really good to connect with them.
Right. So, now, you all, if you don't know her, please look her up. EBI, last name, this is not her real name though. IBIZAZOBOI. Evie Savoy.
And
Yahya, he's a writer as well. Right?
Yes, children's books.
Yes,
On the way.
say that.
On the way.
Yeah.
On the way.
Another author here. And myself, tell us a little bit about
So the one I just finished working on is called Posture Monster, but catch me on the internet somewhere else.
Okay. Right. And our goal is to connect with the Haitian community and empower our young girls to dream big and our young boys.
Yep.
All right, y'all. Take care and see you soon. We're here in Little Haiti and we're welcoming our Haitian authors. All right.
Okay. And the group of girls, so she came in and she did a writing workshop with the girls that you see that are in the video. So I was very grateful to bring her here. And I always tell them, when you guys have Haitian authors, call me up. I will show up and take them around, because she was just so elated to be in the community. Okay, so things to look for, things to do before adding books into the classroom. I know this PowerPoint is a little bit long, but here's some ideas. When adding books to the classroom, always make sure you talk to the kids first. Talk to them. As educators and professionals, we're always designed to follow our rubric and syllabus and all that stuff, but change up the game. Talk to them, see where they're at, see if they're even reading at home. Some kids are not even reading. And then the professor or the teacher would ask them, hey, can you read this paragraph? But it's like, when you don't hear no words coming out of their mouth, like that was me as a child, you know that there's something wrong. So instead of embarrassing, ask questions and talk to the kids. And in a classroom with 28 kids, there should be 20 books for each child. And I think that's close to 600 or something. That's the amount that should be in the classroom, but it doesn't exist. They just send the kids to the library, but I think the classroom is the space that the kids spend the most time in. That's fine. I can continue. So also learn to activate spaces in the classroom. If it's a corner, if you have to move away the desk, if you have to like build little spaces like these so that they can read around it. And for teens, the best way to connect with teenagers, they love the PlayStation, right? Especially the young boys. There's books on basketball. Play the NBA 2K18 songs. You will get their attention. I used to have to do that with my son. Now he's an avid reader. I don't have to do it anymore. I literally would look around and he's like in a closet or on the table reading books. Okay. And representation in the home and in the classroom. As Haitian parents and professionals, we need to make sure our houses, our homes have books that represent the children that are in our household. Very important.